This is my third time recording this because for the first time I forgot to have my microphone plugged in, so it sounded like shit. And the second time, Audacity was not selected on my microphone, so it sounded like shit. So let's just get started now, okay? So this is my coming of ace story, followed by my coming of whatever the fuck my gender is story. Um, I don't have a witty name for that, but the first one is about me realizing I'm Arrow Ace. And also not Arrow Ace, because there's some complexities to it. I had a really back and forth journey. Okay, so when I was growing up, I never really thought about attraction aside from it's a thing that most people do. I had quote unquote crushes that I definitely didn't have any romantic attraction to. All girls that I was friends with. Yeah, then when I was 13, maybe 14, I don't know, I was a freshman in high school, and I realized I didn't have any attraction to girls, and I didn't have any attraction to guys. Honestly, I definitely thought more about attraction to guys, which in retrospect, which I only realized on my second recording, which is kind of funny, that's kind of gay. Kind of gay of me to analyze my interest in men because it was more notable than my interest in women. Like, I don't know. I was like, girls are for being friends with. So are guys, but girls are specifically friends. And that's not something I need to think about. But guys? Gotta think about that for a sec before I give you an answer. But I did kind of realize I didn't have attraction to anyone at all. And then I heard the term asexual, and I was like, oh, that kind of sounds like something I understand. And I went to asexuality.org, which is like a lot of forums. So I kind of looked at people's experiences with being ace, and I found the term aromantic there. And I was like, wow, that feels right. When I eventually, I think that same year or maybe the next year, came out to my mom and dad, my mom was like, okay, thanks for telling me. I'm glad you trusted me with this, which is like the right response. Especially for the way I didn't want it to have to be a big deal because it didn't change who I was. It just changed what I was defining. But my dad was like, you'll find a nice girl and change your mind. In retrospect, I'm like, Dad, I'm like the gayest person you know. I was annoyed because he was dismissing me opening up about something that felt right. Flash forward to, it was my sophomore year, but one of the freshmen that I had some classes with, we became best friends pretty much right away. And they asked me out to homecoming. Also, this friend at the time was pretty much like, fine, you can call me a girl if you insist. But they asked me to homecoming. And I was like, okay. Because I think at the time I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. We're just going to be the way that we always are, except at a party. Which I don't know why I thought that would be good, because I don't like parties, because parties are loud and busy. And I did end up getting very overwhelmed by all the sound and stuff. But that's not when it went bad. Like, that was one of the most uncomfortable and awkward parts of my life. Going on a date with someone who very quickly afterwards realized they were a lesbian. We would joke about it being because of each other being bad at dating. But it was weird being flirted with by someone who had never flirted with me before. It wasn't our friendship. It didn't feel like what I wanted it to feel like. Luckily, it didn't change anything between us. We swore to only bring it up again if it was funny. So, I basically doubled down on thinking I was ace. And then, within the next year, I developed my first celebrity crush. If you can consider a decently popular Twitch streamer a celebrity. I'm not going to say who it was, but yeah, he was this Twitch streamer who was, like, very much a twink. I really liked this streamer. I liked watching him, specifically him, not the gameplay, because he was cute and fun to watch, and he was funny. And I was like, I have a big old crush on this guy. Big old gay crush. One day he got a boyfriend, and why would I be jealous about that? Like, I don't know. I've never had parasocial relationships. I've never understood that. And then he grew a beard, or a mustache specifically. Now, I already described him as a twink. Put an awkward-looking mustache on that twink that you're imagining. It looked about as awkward as you might imagine. And with that, I slowly fell out of my crush. I decrushed. And I was like, well, I'm still gay, because I had a crush. But in retrospect, it was just aesthetic attraction. Neither romantic nor sexual, nor even platonic toward him. Because I was a viewer. That's all I was. I was one of his fans, not even like a long-time fan. A few years went by with me not analyzing further and still thinking I was just like gay but single and not looking for a relationship due to being kind of a mess in every other way. So I didn't need a relationship to complicate things. And then I read the book Loveless by Alice Oseman. Side note, I have no idea how good the book is, so this isn't a recommendation necessarily. I haven't read it in quite some time. And it is very much a YA novel written for a slightly older than YA audience. It is based on the author's experiences as an ace woman. And it means a lot to me, regardless of quality. But there's a part where the main character is talking to her roommate about porn and how they interact with porn, because her roommate has been trying to help her figure out who she wants to date. And they start talking about the way they interact with porn. They don't care whether it's a straight relationship, a gay relationship, men, women, it doesn't really matter to them. And they're like, wow, we both relate to each other on this. And then the roommate is like, so which character do you imagine yourself as? And she's like, I don't. I don't. And I was like, whoa, I don't. Like, as I was reading, because I realized that that's not how I interact with porn either. So I was like, so what am I? How do I think about this? And then it hit me. I think about it from the perspective of how I enjoy things in general. I mean, I like the idea of pirates, but I do not like being on boats. It freaks me out. Intergalactic travel is a really interesting thing, but I don't want to go to space and I hate road trips. So, like, I'm a hopeless romantic, aromantic. And I'm into kinks that I will never explore in person, because I wouldn't actually enjoy them if I was actually taking part. I'm a contradiction. And that's fine. So I'm ace and gay, and both very much do go hand in hand while also being blatantly contradictory. Next, I guess I could talk about my gender since I said I would. So gender. When I was little, I was very much not cisgendered. A lot of anecdotes about me from when I was like 3, of me wearing dresses or a tutu, or wearing a pretty necklace, wanting to paint my nails, and at the for a while I chalked it up to having 2 sisters, one of which was my older sister who I looked up to. When I was in high school, when I was a freshman, one of my friends came out as transmasc, and I was like, "You can do that? You can do that!" And then I promptly filed it away and did not think more on it. Then the next year, my best friend, from the start, from the get-go, they didn't identify as a girl. It was begrudgingly that they let people refer to them as one. And I kind of related to that without really fully understanding why. And one day I asked them about their experiences with gender, and I related to a lot of it. There was a lot of it that I didn't, because no 2 humans are alike, and everyone is constantly changing. But yeah, I understood and felt like my weirdness wasn't just me. I wasn't alone in my weirdness, which is comforting. I started using he, they pronouns for a while, but then I grew a beard and did not want to use he pronoun while looking masculine, so now I use they, them exclusively. But yeah, my journey toward gender was a little bit more fluid than my journey toward aeroesque. But that's also because I don't feel the need to define my gender any more specifically than non-binary. I use the label trans mostly because there are a lot of puns you can use for that, and that's the part that I like. Anyway, I don't know if this is something that people are going to listen to, and I don't know if people are going to care, but like, this is about me, and maybe it'll help someone figure themselves out, or maybe not. I don't really need it to. But if it does help, then that's great. Feel free to comment if you want. But like, no pressure. Leave a like if you've made it this far. Or a dislike, I guess. But that doesn't really do much, except tell me that someone pressed a dislike button, and I don't really take it personally, because people do that all the fucking time. So, yeah. Bye! uh, that's how I end Discord calls. By saying bye! And then leaving. While I'm still trailing it. Yeah. Pretty stupid. Anyway, forgot to say that this is gender neutral here. Even though I don't really have to say that, I felt the need to. So I did it anyway. Haha.